Welcome, everybody, back to the Fire Talk podcast and YouTube channel. For today's episode, we are going to be discussing Manny Machado, and we are going to be talking about his deal 3 years later. It was just the anniversary a couple days back, and we wanted to just kind of talk about Manny Machado a little bit. There's been some things in the past that this deal was not a good deal. I think it was Ben and Woods put a tweet out of a poll that they did in that offseason of should the Padres go sign Manny Machado, and the majority of Padres fans said no, which I think is so funny. But looking back on the deal, he signed a 10-year, $300 million deal. At the time, very obviously the biggest deal the Padres had ever signed. It was a huge step for this organization, and wanted to look back and also look at some comparable contracts and just kind of not really grade it, but kind of start judging a little bit 3 years in. And I think the first thing that stands out to me is when you look at the other players making the amount of money that Manny Machado is making, you're going to feel a lot better about paying Manny Machado. So I'm going to go through those right now. I have it sorted by AAV. I'm talking about anyone that has over a 5-year deal. So I'm not going to talk about Max Scherzer because he has a really short deal. But start going through it. Garrett Cole, $36 million. He's already 29. That is not a deal that I think is going to age very well at all. Mike Trout. All right, Mike Trout, I'll give the pass to Mike Trout. That guy's pretty good. Steven Strasburg. Don't really know if I like that one. Now, I think he's kind of getting close to the end. Not the worst deal in the world, but he's making $35 million. He's already 31 years old. Oh, never mind. His free agency is until 2027. I am completely wrong. That was after the World Series. That is not good, looking very good at all. Anthony Rendon. I think every Angel fan is going to tell you, yeah, that one's hurting a lot. I do have faith in Anthony Rendon to have a bounce back year, but living up to the 7-year, $245 million deal that he signed in 2020 seems unexpected, unlikely. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in it. Zach Greinke, I think this deal is just about to. Okay, he's a free agent, I think now, but he did sign a 6-year deal for over $200 million. Not the worst deal, not that bad, but I don't think that's active anymore. Francisco Lindor, 10 years, 341. Yeah, that one doesn't take much. That does not look good right now, and that is a fresh deal too. Like that's a fresh deal, and that was first year has been bad. Trevor Bauer's a short deal. I think we know that one's not going well. Corey Seager just signed his deal. Won't get into him. Nolan Arenado. I think Manny Machado's been better personally. I think it's a toss-up though, so we'll see how that kind of goes. I don't think it's a bad deal or anything. I think Nolan Arenado is worth the money. And then we have a couple more here. Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera is probably one of the best hitters of Isaac and my generation. So didn't age well, but I get why they signed him to that, and $31 million. So not terrible, but Manny Machado's deals look a little bit better at this point. David Price, yeah, that's not looking very good. Now he is a free agent next offseason, so not horrible there. And then Clayton Kershaw and Mookie Betts. I think Clayton Kershaw and Mookie Betts are great players, so I'm not going to knock them too much. But Clayton Kershaw has definitely kind of been on the back end just with all of the injuries that he's had. Now, if you're the Dodgers, you definitely pay Clayton Kershaw. It's not even really a question. So not going to knock them for signing that contract. But think about that, dude. That's kind of eye-opening, right, Isaac?
Absolutely, man. I love that you brought up all those names because it just makes me feel that much better about the deal. And what a steal it was, man. I think the other day we were talking about how Juan Soto might be a $500 million man and that we got Fernando for 14 years, 340. We got Manny for 10 years, 300 in his prime. Of course, one of the bigger deals at the time. I think it was the biggest deal until Bryce broke it the next day. I'm not entirely sure, but one of the biggest deals, absolutely. And I mean, I'm looking at his numbers right now. Last year with 836 OPS, 29 home runs. The year before in 2020, he had a 950 OPS. Of course, only 60 games, but a 950 OPS. That is absurd. Down year in 2019, but I mean, how fantastic has this guy been for us? I think he's the best third baseman in baseball. I know we made the list, and I had Jose Ramirez number one, but I will take that back. Just because Manny has been so good defensively, and I think this year he's gonna break 30 home runs. I think last year his power numbers aren't what they were, but I think this year he's gonna do it. Shoulder, yes, he had a shoulder injury. Think about it. Think he'd put up these numbers on a bum shoulder pretty much all year.
He was He was a top 20 MVP vote. Like the guy voted top 20, and he had a bum shoulder.
And he does it consistently. This is every year. This is a typical thing for Manny Machado. It's not like he's gonna have a down year. A down year for Manny is probably like what, like an 830 OPS, 25 home runs. I'll take that. 4 player. I think on Baseball Reference he's a 5-WAR player. I don't know what he was on Fangraphs, but I mean, how could you not appreciate that deal? And it's funny because I talk with my dad about it, and he's like, I expect more from Manny considering he's making 30 mil a year. I'm like, what more could you expect? Like he's fantastic. He's playing Gold Glove defense. I think if it weren't for Eric Hosmer, Manny Machado probably would have won a Gold Glove. His outs above average would have been higher. His errors would have been lower. And I mean, arguably, he is just as good as Nolan Arenado at defense. That's just going based off last year, though. I know Nolan is Platinum Glove winner, so yeah. But just going based off last year, he was fantastic. I really enjoy watching Manny Machado play. He's been a draw for all the fans. He was the main reason that the Padres. You could say Eric Hosmer, but no way. He was the main reason the Padres started this thing they got going on, along with Fernando, who, if it weren't for both of them, we wouldn't be in the position we are right now. I know it's a little gloom going into 2022 just because of what happened at the end of 2021, but when you got the best left side in baseball, you got to be really happy going into any year that you're going into. And, the deals that we've signed both Manny and Fernando to are both going to look like bargains by the time their deals are almost over. And it's so fun to see them both play. I know I'm giving praise to Fernando in a Manny video, but how can you not give praise to Fernando in any video? Manny, I think it's amazing what he's done as a Padre. I think it's amazing that people vilify. I think that's the word. I'm not sure. They do that to him. They consider him one of the worst personalities in baseball, and all I've seen is amazingness out of Manny. All I've seen is good things out of Manny. I haven't seen him, other than one game I went to where he got thrown out, I haven't seen him do it again. And I think that goes understated.
Yeah. Also, like I feel like I've seen Manny get mad, and it was like, oh, it's a blatant ball 4. Like it was like 2-3 inches off the strike zone. Like, of course he's gonna say something, but of course if Manny Machado says it, then everyone has to freak out about it. And that's kind of like that's everything that I've seen with him in San Diego. Is like I see a bunch of people that knock Manny all the time, and you see it on Twitter a lot too. I have yet to see a good argument for why this was a bad deal. I have yet to see one. And if you think it's a bad deal, like please let me know in the comments. I'm not gonna like knock your take or be a dick about it, but like I have not seen it. I legitimately have not seen it. The conversation of like, oh, he's a terrible teammate and he's an awful person, bad leader. He's very clearly the Padres' main leader, and Fernando's talked about it. I get that they had their little argument in the dugout. I think that got completely blown out of proportion. I think that is way like overrated of a thing. That's going to happen in sports. If anyone has played competitive sports, you've definitely gone to a yelling match with one of your teammates before. That's just what happens. And you talk about it and you get over it and you move on. Like you got to be a grown up in those spots. And if you get upset and your emotions show, all right, then you wake up the next day and you go back to work. It's not, I think it got blown out to a way bigger thing. And then when they asked Fernando about it, he said, yeah, Manny put me in, Manny checked me. That's what he does. That's what he's always done. And I appreciate that. So I don't know how people still think that like Manny and Fernando don't like each other, but you were literally hearing it from both of them. Like, yeah, no, like we're super good friends and they do videos together and they do interviews together and they hang out and they laugh and they joke together. So I don't get that take. And on the baseball field, he has been spectacular. So far, I'd give this deal a 10 out of 10. I don't know how you wouldn't. Like, this is exactly what you wanted. When you signed Manny Machado, this is exactly what you envisioned. Now, hopefully, they get some deep playoff runs, some of that stuff going, but Manny is definitely not the guy to blame that hasn't been the case. So keep building around Fernando and Manny, and great things are going to come in San Diego. But anything else you want to add, Isaac?
Also want to talk about his durability. Played 156 games in 2019, played all 60 in 2020, played 153 last year. I remember he got hurt in the middle of a game. I think Cardinals or Reds. It was one of those series in San Diego. He got hurt in the middle of the game, and it looked bad. I think people were saying like, "Oh, he's going to come out of the game." He didn't come out of the game. He was back in an inning later, and still putting up I mean, still looking good defensively, still looking good offensively. I think everything about this is also on my part. I think it's a 10 out of 10 as well. And it's going to look that way as long as he keeps putting up these numbers. It's only going to look better and better as more deals keep getting signed for big name free agents. Um, for example, that Francisco Lindor deal, I don't think it's going to get any better than it already is. I mean, it's not that good. I don't think it was that good in the first place. I don't think he deserves to be paid that much money. It's just that it's a big name going to New York, and you know that's kind of what happens. Um, but with Manny, you're getting everything you expected: the leadership, the big brother role that everybody expected him to play for Fernando. I think that was also another big reason in signing him. He's lived up to that. Um, and I just think he's been a great addition for San Diego, and maybe he'll get us a shot. If he's good enough, he might get a statue too. I don't know, but he's been everything I've wanted personally. And I remember when I saw we signed him, you know, Chase and I both talked about it. And we were both super happy, and I still remain happy to this day about that deal. So if you're not happy about it, let us know in the comments because I can't see a reason, but I'd love to know. Um, and I just think it's been fun to be able to call Manny Machado a Padre and watch him be a Padre.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the durability is a big thing. You brought up that he got hurt in that Cardinals game. What about the Dodger game where he got banged up and then he stole second and then he went to third on a pass ball and then he tied the game in the bottom of the ninth on actually an Eric Hosmer single? I remember that moment was pretty sick too, and that was like, oh, this dude is gritty. Like this dude, like everyone wants to say he's lazy and stuff. No, he might like loaf around a little bit, but when it's time to turn it on, he has always turned it on. Like I've yet to see like him just being like playing lazy. Like I still have not seen it. Like maybe he didn't jog down like or sprint down the first baseline. It's like, all right, well, when you play 150 games every year, that's fine. That's okay. Like I'm not worried about that. And also, you bring up durability. Like you sign a 10-year contract for $300 million. You want that guy to be durable. We have seen so many athletes, not just in baseball, in all sports, where they sign a big deal, they get hurt right away, and then that deal kind of is just like it just ruins the team. And so, fortunately, that has not happened to the Padres, and hopefully, it continues not to happen. But I think a lot of that is Manny, kind of playing his style of baseball that has worked really, really well for him. So let us know in the comments what you think about Manny Machado, how you feel about the deal. And yeah, I think it's going to do it for today's episode. So thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to everybody very, very soon.